Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of HomeKit Insider. You've got me, Andrew O'Hara, here with my pal, and it is real, one of Peter Piper's original pickled peppers. It is Steven Pepper Pants Robles. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you know what I mean? I used to like tongue twisters when I was a
Yes,
kid.
you were one of those peppers.
That's right. Yeah, I was one of them. Not a bell pepper, a pickled pepper. I don't know if I've ever had a pickled pepper. Anyway, that's enough pepper talk.
I mean, that's every jalapeno, like.
Oh, right. Just kidding. It's early. I'm not feeling well. Sorry. Okay. A little slow today. I got it now. I got it. Well, we got some light HomeKit news, and 16.3.1 came out last week as our listeners listen to this. And as always, I am seeking for bug updates for the home and for everything else. There were a couple fixes and a couple not so fixes. So, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, not so fixes. That's English right there. First piece of news. This is Philips Hue. They had announced some different bulbs last year, and they have this like triangular, this globe, and this ellipses thing. Well, unfortunately, this is the Hue blog. I translated it into English. It's typically in, what is it, Swedish? Norwegian? I'm not sure.
DE, isn't that like German or something?
Dutch. Oh,
Dutch?
Yeah. Yes, maybe, yeah. But I translated it into English here. You can do that in Safari on your phone or Mac, so that's helpful. But apparently, Philips Hue will not be releasing the globe style, which is like the circle or the triangular bulb. This is kind of like a LED light in a globe thing. It almost looks like a, how would you describe that? Kind of like a snow globe, but with a light in the middle, something like that. But the ellipses is out, and that is still available. So if you wanted that one, that's cool. You definitely need a unique fixture to be able to fit that in. Like, it's not going to fit into a normal light thing. But there you go.
I mean, I thought the light guides were really cool. That's what this line is called, the light guide lineup. And yeah, I thought these looked really neat. We have mildly similar in Harrison's bedroom. We have like a little lantern, like I'm going to go through the woods at night type lantern. And it's got like an actual like lantern on the outside, and then there's like a stem right in the center, and that's like an LED stem, and it glows and lightens up the lantern and everything. So similar kind of effect of what Hue is doing here, but I'm glad they're trying not to kill off the line completely. They say there was manufacturing quality issues that were plaguing both the triangle and the globe-shaped ones, and for whatever reason, the ellipsis, maybe because it's the largest of the three, didn't suffer from the same quality issues. So they're going to keep selling that one, but they're not going to sell the other two. To your point, Steven, they actually sell their own pendant lights too. So if you've got a fixture, great. If you need a fixture, they sell those drop-down pendants that are specifically designed to cover the stem of the bulb, so you just have the glass revealed, which is really neat. Because I'm pretty sure they have a little bit of a long stem, so they do work with other fixtures you may have, but they also just have their own that they sell in both white and black. If you'd like to use those instead.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, that's Hue. I was looking for the Hue Sync box on Amazon because I wanted to link it for something. And you couldn't buy the Sync box by itself on Amazon. You can get it seemingly on Amazon's website, but we haven't heard anything about an update to that, have we? Just curious. No. I didn't know if... Okay. I didn't know if you had the inside scoop. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it.
I have the information, and I'm just going to tell you out of embargo. I'm kidding. I don't know anything under embargo either. I know nothing.
Yeah, okay. Okay, very good. All right, well, the next news, this is from Arlo. Arlo is the, security camera and all that kind of stuff. I know Angel's got a couple Arlos. I got the Arlo doorbell and floodlight camera for my mom. She uses those two, really likes those. But they were going to supposedly maybe end of life these 7-day recordings that come free, I believe. So if you don't pay the subscription, you still get 7-day recordings. Was that accurate? That's how it was?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And so they were going to end of life it, but then the CEO, Matthew McRae, actually went on Twitter and wanted to, I guess, correct or change the announcement. So he said 7-day storage will not be end of lifed. So if you buy an Arlo or if you have an Arlo, you don't pay for it, but you still get the 7-day recordings. That will not go away. They're saying that will continue. They're also pushing out end-of-life dates for different Arlo devices. So like the Pro 2 class of products will now end of life in 2025. It's not that they'll stop working, but as far as like repair and getting parts for those directly from Arlo, that will end 2 years from now for the Pro 2 class of products. And I'm not even sure are they on the 3 line? I don't even know what Arlo is on right now. Are they on the 18?
I think something like that.
Okay,
they've got a lot of
out.
different cameras that overlap with generations, so it's a little hard to put a number on it.
Yeah. But it's nice to see, especially, thinking about all the Eufy debacle that has gone on the last several months. It's nice to have like the CEO of the company out there tweeting, clarifying things, actually walking back possibly the 7-day recording. So it's nice to see. And I'm looking on the Arlo website right now. My goodness, they have all the way up to the Arlo Pro 5 right now. Sheesh. And they still sell the 4. So yeah, a lot of different cameras from Arlo. But you still like your Arlo stuff? I know you use it a lot.
Yeah, I do. I think I'm getting another one for the front yard to get this one more blind spot that we got around our house.
Right.
This is pretty common, right? With tech companies, they introduce something, they have a lot of these promises, and then they get years down the line and they realize, oh boy, to keep doing these new features or to continue offering this, we're going to dramatically redo our server structure or other things like that, and it's going to break compatibility with like old models. And I believe something like that was happening here. Was they were trying to plan better for future cameras and new functionality, and in doing so, it can make things incompatible with their existing data structures. So their thought was like, we'll end of life this free video thing, and we're going to move something like this, and they walked it all back. People were not happy about it, understandably, and they were like, okay, as soon as this announcement came out and people were upset about it, I went to the engineering team. I asked them, figuring out how can we do this, how can we continue to offer this new stuff as well as these other features and supporting these other cameras for a little bit longer, and then managed to do it, which is awesome. Like it's really nice when a company actually listens and responds and does something good. So I'm so happy with all of our Arlo stuff, and this is pretty great that if you were one of those people who had that free data and wanted to continue using it, you got it.
You got it. Now, one other clarifying question about Arlo, because you probably have the Arlo hub that gets those things into the Home app, correct? That's what that hub does. If you get the Arlo video doorbell and you have the hub, does it do everything like a HomeKit Secure video doorbell would do, aside from the recordings, where like if someone rings it, you'll see the video on your Apple TV if you're watching your Apple TV? Yep. Does it do that kind of stuff? Okay. Yeah,
it does all that stuff. You get motion detection. It shows up on your Apple TV. Someone presses the button and all of your HomePods ring. It does everything a HomeKit Secure video doorbell does, except for record the video and the activity zones. So you can, of course, set all the activity zones and all that stuff in Arlo. And I think Arlo's AI detection is a bit more reliable than Apple's.
Okay, very good. Yeah, and I will say that as far as my mom's like floodlight camera and doorbell, it is like it can be very sensitive. Like it's like person, car, package detected, and it is much more accurate. I get a lot of package detected on my Logitech Circle View doorbell, and there is no package there. It's like a lizard that like ran across the door, or it's like a leaf blowing in the wind, and definitely not a package. So the Arlo one, it does seem to be pretty good. So, all right, so 16.3.1 came out. This is the update. I think all the devices. 16.3.2 strangely came out for tvOS and HomePodOS, I think. I don't know why they're on a different number there, but the update came out everywhere. Supposedly bug fixes and all that. I will say, after myself and my kids updated their devices, one of the things I have not been able to do since iOS 16 was invite my kids back into the home. Like they lost access, they lost control. And every time I would send an invite, sometimes they would get it, sometimes it would error out, but they would never actually shown as residents of the home again. Like it would say pending acceptance or whatever. And so it was not working. But now with 16.3.1, after they updated their devices, they were finally able to accept the home invitation and join the home again. And they can now control the stuff, and personal requests on things like HomePods are working better. So at least invitations for me, and everything's very subjective here because I know lots of people on social media have been like widely differing experiences, but at least home invitations seem to have been addressed somewhat in the 16.3.1 update. I did have all my Leviton switches disconnect again. So, that was fun. Just go around resetting those again. But other than that, once I connected them, they seem to be staying connected. I don't know what it is. It's the Leviton one specifically. And every time I update the stinking iOS 16, they all disconnect. And so I have to go around. I hold the top of the Leviton switch for 3 seconds. It restarts the Wi-Fi on the switch. It does not factory reset it. So I can just go around, hold the top button on each Leviton switch for 3 seconds. And for some reason, they get reconnected to the home app. And that's all I have to do. So I'm not factory resetting. I'm just like resetting the Wi-Fi. I don't understand why with every update they are doing that. But that is what they're doing. It has to be an iOS 16 weirdness thing. I mean, I don't know. So anyway, it fixed home invitations. Whether or not it fixes your actual HomeKit devices remains to be seen. So have you noticed anything with this update?
I mean, I still haven't noticed anything different, but 16.3.2 that you had mentioned, that one, it was specifically available for the HomePod and the Apple TVs, and does actually name drop HomeKit in like the release notes, or at least Apple Home. Saying that it fixes a bug where someone would make a request to Siri. Siri would say they would like pause like on it, right, and then just fail. So that has been fixed inside of 16.3.2 for HomePods and Apple TV.
Okay, well, that's good. And maybe that was it because I updated all my HomePods and Apple TVs. The HomePod update, man, that takes forever. Like, I understand it's downloading it to all the different HomePods around the house, and I have a ton of HomePods. Like, I get it. I'm not complaining that it's taking a while, but it does take a long time for all those HomePods to update. So, and this is okay. So you got the HomePod update. Link in the show notes.
Yeah, that second link updates for us. So there was Very 2 cool. releases going on. It was fun watching the behind the scenes over here at Apple Insider when those releases were happening, because it was such a weird release this week. And obviously compared to you, especially if you're just looking on Twitter, people like will just errantly 16.4 is out. It's not. They will just publish things very, very quickly, and we really try to verify through multiple sources before we publish that a update is available. And it was a little bit of madness this week because there was not anything that was regular, and it looked like there was stuff that was supposed to be like a beta but was released publicly, or something that was like I don't know. It just seemed very messy. Apple's website did not get updated for a substantial amount of time, so we couldn't even confirm, delayed on Apple's website for a while. It was just a weird week for updates, but at least there's some HomeKit fixes that are out there, and we're still waiting a 16.4 beta.
Right. Yeah, it was weird for me because I saw people tweeting 16.3.1 is out, go get it now. It took me like a good 20 to 30 minutes to see it on my devices, and I was checking all the devices, like my Mac, my iPad, my iPhone. But there's also like a CDN, like Content Delivery Network or whatever, that pushes out those updates depending on your region, your DNS, like all of that plays into when you see an update on your device. But Apple does put on their website when an official OS is publicly available. So like you were saying, Apple will say 16.3.1 now publicly available. And that wasn't that usually doesn't happen until probably minutes, if not, 30 to 60 minutes after people might see it in their software update in the settings app. So yeah, it's sometimes a lot of mess. I don't like to tweet out that, because I try to tweet out when there's a new update, let people know. But I don't like doing that until I see it on my personal devices, because I do feel like in the past there have been times where everybody was like, "It's updated now," and it's like, I don't know, it was like either wrong or like way off. So I like to make sure like I see it for myself, publicly released. I've installed it on my devices. That's just how I do it. So that's me. But anyway. All right. That's enough about updates. So lastly, for news-wise, IKEA has a new Matter-enabled indoor air quality monitor. This is Matter-enabled, and with the IKEA Smart Hub, this would be also usable in HomeKit in the Home app. And what are we going to say, by the way, Andrew? Okay, so sorry, this is just an aside. Are we going to say that something is like usable or viewable in the Home app, in Apple Home, or are we still going to say HomeKit? I feel like HomeKit is starting to sound old now. I don't know why. I mean, that's the name of our show, so we can't really.
Let's circle back to let's cover this IKEA news and let's circle back because I actually have other thoughts. So we should talk about it. Let's finish IKEA.
Good. Okay, I like it. Okay, good. Okay, very good. So anyway, this is a new IKEA indoor air quality monitor. This thing looks pretty sweet. I don't know if our listeners are familiar. I mean, we've talked about different air quality monitors in the past. A lot of times they're very small or have small screens. I think it can be difficult to like parse what the data is at a glance. This thing looks like it has a large screen. Like this is like iPhone size screen, it looks like, and has big numbers letting you know what the air quality is. This looks like a significant device. It does look pretty big. When you put that on like a bookshelf or something, and looks pretty cool. This is going to be $70. I should play our friend, I forget his name, forgive me, but he told us what the pronunciation is. Here we go. Oh, that wasn't live. Let me try one more time. This is how you pronounce the IKEA Hub's name.
Dirigera.
There you go. That's the IKEA Hub. So that's
but
what.
Not
that's
what
the
this device is called.
No, this is
the Veensterka. Veensterka.
Oh, we need another voice memo. We need to know how to pronounce that word right there. I don't know what that word says. So anyway, yeah, but it looks pretty cool. What do you think about this?
It's very the first word that I think of is chonky because it is tall. It is tall and thick. Like it's not even like a thin one. This is a thick device. It's also like backlit, which I find curious. I almost need just to put this in the house and see how it is. But almost like I don't know if I want that backlit display like all the time, just very bright. But maybe that's like an adjustable thing. Maybe it's like normally like off and then you can poke it and it turns on, something like that. But other than that, I think it's really nice looking. It looks pretty solid. I don't have any other qualms with this thing, especially if you already have the IKEA Hub and one we built into that. But it's great that it works, just natively with Matter. It should be a good device.
Do you have this IKEA Hub? Do you have one of these?
No, not right now.
I don't either. I've not had the IKEA Hub or any IKEA devices. I know some people have said like they're really cool stuff. They have the Symfonisk lamp. Patrick Tommaso, he has a YouTube channel, and on Twitter he said that we were talking about sound stuff like with Sonos or whatever, and he said the Symfonisk lamp, which we talked about on this show many months ago, he actually uses 2 of those lamps as like rear speakers in a home theater setup, I guess. He says they sound really good. So I've been curious to maybe try some IKEA stuff. I don't know, listeners, if you have some IKEA stuff in your Apple Home, see, I changed the terminology there, and that you really love it, it's like your favorite IKEA stuff, let me know what you got, because I think I want to try some IKEA stuff. So.
I already have I do have the speakers. I do have the Symfonisk picture frame speaker right behind me. I do have the lamp, the bookshelf speakers were some of my favorite devices. Like for the smart home, I thought those were brilliant. But when I was reviewing, I can't say if there's a generation of IKEA bulbs, but they were curse word inducing. They required a lot of steps to pair with like the hub, and it was just very anti-consumer and frustrating, and I did not like their bulbs. I don't know if things have changed, but it was a laborious process the last that I had tried them. Doesn't mean the same thing goes like for the new hub or any of the new devices, but that was my last experience with some of their actual smart home tech outside of their Sonos partnership.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, let me know, listeners. I'm curious what IKEA stuff is out there. All right, and before we get to some personal projects and talk about HomeKit versus Apple Home, we want to thank our friends at Kolide, and they have something new in today's ad read here. So this is from Kolide. They have some big news, and if you're one of these users, you know who you are. If you're an Okta user, OKTA, let me know, listeners, if you're an Okta user, they can get your entire fleet to 100% compliance. How? If a device isn't compliant, the user can't log into your cloud apps until they fix the problem, and it's that simple. Well, Kolide rushed in there like a superhero, patches one of the major holes in zero trust architecture, which is device compliance. Without Kolide, IT struggles to solve basic problems like keeping everyone's OS and browsers up to date. Unsecured devices are logging into your company's apps because there's nothing there to stop them. Well, Kolide is the only device trust solution that enforces compliance as part of authentication, and it's built to work seamlessly with Okta. The moment Kollide's agent detects a problem, it alerts the user and gives them instructions to fix it. If they don't fix the problem within a set time, they're blocked. Whoa, look at that. Kollide's method means fewer support tickets, less frustration, and most importantly, 100% fleet compliance. That's a big deal if you're on the IT team of a major business. So visit Kolide.com/HomeKit. That's KOLIDE.com/HomeKit. And they have a free goodie bag, and you can even sign up for a free trial and try out Kolide. That's Kolide.com/HomeKit. What are your thoughts? We have HomeKit, Apple Home. How are we going to mention things going forward? I feel like things are shifting, changing in how the Apple Home terminology works. So what do you think? Tell me your thoughts.
Well, okay. So I will say in reviews, I have for a while now been embracing Apple Home. This is what Apple is referring to it as. It's what's on packaging. It's what I would use in this public-facing stuff for general consumption. Obviously, our podcast, a little bit more niche as far as people who really like this stuff and maybe have a little bit more understanding of what they're getting into. But for text reviews and everything, I've been going to Apple Home. But it brought up the larger question when I was working with someone the other day on smart home stuff. And it was around the new HomePods and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, you can do this and you can use this to control HomeKit devices. And they're like, what devices? I'm like Apple Home devices. They're like, oh, okay. So they work with the Apple Home app. I'm like, So, Steven, this is a larger question than maybe you anticipated on bringing up, but do we need to continue being HomeKit Insider? Because, is this going to hurt our discovery? And maybe that's a question we should have more off camera, but I also want to hear what our audience has to think. That's a whole, it is not an easy undertaking. We have a lot of episodes. There's graphics and all this stuff that would need to come along with a name change that I have no interest in taking part of. But also, people don't even know what HomeKit is. People do know what Apple Home is more and more. And at some point, you might hit the part where there's it's harder to get some new listeners because what our show is named has been sunsetted, or at least just kept around as a developer API versus something public facing. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? For public stuff, I always use Apple Home anymore.
Well, I know for devices that work with Apple Home, Apple wanted everyone to change the tag on the box. And so that's why on newer device boxes, you'll see works with Apple Home. If you go to the Apple web page that has the guidelines for people, they say use this tag, which is the Apple Home tag. And there's really not any mention of HomeKit anymore. I'm going to try and pull it up real quick. Even they say developing apps and accessories Matter. This is the page real quick. And it says, works with Apple Home. That's the tag they want you to put everywhere. HomeKit and Matter down here is basically specified as the underlying architecture, which HomeKit, just like ARKit and UIKit, WebKit, those are all the underlying technologies of how this stuff works. And WebKit, still a thing. like Safari runs on WebKit, but you never hear anyone say that ever. Like no one ever says the WebKit browser or WebKit based browsers. Although, you know, someone if you're having a really technical conversation, but I feel like HomeKit is moving into that space where it's like, yeah, HomeKit is the underlying architecture, but we're not going to say that word. Like you're probably never going to hear HomeKit in an Apple keynote ever again, or like in an Apple event. Like I doubt that they're going to say it there. They're probably going to say works with Apple Home. The HomePod is the hub of your Apple Home. And like these devices, they're going to say Matter because that's the new standard. And that's like what everyone's talking about is Matter this and Matter that. But yeah, I do think public facing, it's going to be Apple Home, the Home app, which makes sense. You know, like the Home app isn't called the HomeKit app. It's always just been the Home app. So yeah, I think it poses an interesting question for us. I mean, Apple Home Insider, I don't think it rolls off the tongue like HomeKit Insider.
Doesn't.
And
no.
Yeah, I mean, I guess could be a legacy show name, but yeah, it feels like a weird time. Like we are transitioning away from HomeKit as the public term for devices that plug into your iPhone in the Home app, and that's now going to be Apple Home. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess we need to think about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, you know, especially on like the written and video content, you have to use Apple Home for basically SEO purposes, right? Like as less people know HomeKit, you kind of need to have the words like Apple Home in there to be able to show up when people are searching for the right stuff. And even if you're going to like Apple's microsite on HomeKit, you can only find the word HomeKit two times right on the product or on that page. And one is because they're talking about HomeKit secure routers or HomeKit routers, and the second one is HomeKit secure video, which is literally HomeKit secure video as its name. So they can't escape it. But the rest of the microsite on Home has Matter, has all this other stuff, but barely even mentions HomeKit at all. And the same when you're looking on actual devices. Like if you're actually looking at the supported accessories, it's like home accessories. List keeps getting smarter. These are all the accessories that are compatible with the Home app and Matter. And then they've got the works with Apple Home badge, and then no mention of HomeKit anywhere on this page.
Yeah, and even like when Apple redesigned it's not really redesigned, but they added these like drop-down menus. Like if you go to the TV and home segment, you know, it has Apple TV, HomePod, HomePod Mini, and then let's see, where is it? TV and home accessories. They don't even say like.
If you click on the tab, it at least brings it up, but it calls it the Home app.
Yeah, it's just the Home app. Yeah, so again, like there it is, Home app, no HomeKit or anything, and this is just the Home app. This is where we were a second ago. So, they're definitely moving to just Apple Home and Home app. So, I don't know. Yeah, think about that. What do you think, HomeKiteers? You want to be Apple HomeKiteers? Home. I don't even know how to phrase it. That's going to be weird. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let us know. All right, a couple personal project things. I just wanted to mention. We talked last week about how LG WebOS TVs had a software update supposedly bringing HomeKit support. I updated two of them. I have two LG WebOS TVs. One is from like 2019, I think, 2018, and one is from last year, 2022. We had just bought it. Updated both. They both had software updates. Neither have a HomeKit thing to add. So I don't know what model LG WebOS TVs, but it's not mine. So whatever, I don't know what model.
Okay, well the update I'm surprised that your one from last year doesn't have HomeKit, because most of the LG ones already have HomeKit built in. So I'm actually surprised by that. But the update that just came out, this was an update to WebOS in general that was bringing HomeKit to third-party sets, not LG sets. So there's like sets that are designed by like Seiko and I can't remember, like weird ones like Hyundai or something. And those sets now will support HomeKit. But they weren't promising more HomeKit for existing LG products.
Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, I tried to update. I forgot what the TV was. Anyway, none of my TVs have HomeKit because I know I have a TCL, I have a TCL Series 5 TV, which I really like because it has local dimming. If you're going to buy a TV, of all the features, you want 4K, you want Dolby Vision, and you want local dimming. Let me just say, and the TV I got was not expensive. I think it was like $600, which again, I mean, it's not a cheap amount of money, but compared to some of the other like thousands of dollar TVs, like OLED TVs, and local dimming gives you those nice black levels. It's not like OLED level, but it's way nicer than just the overall backlit. So that's just my personal preference. If you're going to buy a TV, you look for 4K, Dolby Vision, local dimming being a really key feature. The TCL TV that I got, they have two versions. They have a Google TV version and a Roku version. I don't care about either of those. I'm not going to use the TV Smart features. And so the one that was in stock was the Google TV version. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Apparently, the Roku TV version of the TCL Series 5 TV has HomeKit. If you get the Roku version, there is a HomeKit compatibility. If you get the Google TV version, no HomeKit. I didn't know that when I bought it. I didn't really care. But all my HDMI CEC control is working now. Like I turn on my Apple TV, TV turns on. I turn off the Apple TV, TV turns off. So like I don't really care anymore. Like whatever. It would have been nice if it was in there, but it's not. And then my LG WebOS TVs, like I said, I found the menu where it says like voice assistant, and it lists Alexa, it lists Google, no HomeKit. So I don't know what the deal is. If you have an LG WebOS TV and you got HomeKit, let us know because I have no idea. It didn't work. Do you have any thoughts on TVs? Any TV buying criteria that you want to share with people?
I've got a lot of criteria for buying TVs, but people are gonna buy what they're gonna buy. A lot of people go for size over some of the other features, and luckily HomeKit has been more popular in TVs these days. I really like Samsung sets a lot. They're some of the best designed ones. They got some of the coolest specs that are out there, but they don't support Dolby Vision because they have their own HDR 10 Plus that they developed, and they don't support HomeKit. They'll support AirPlay, but they won't support HomeKit because they are proponents of SmartThings. But then again, SmartThings will work with Matter. These things should show up in the Home app via Matter that way, if you prefer to go down that route. But we have HomeKit on a couple of our TVs. They work well. I hated the LG TVs. I thought they were picture quality was good, but WebOS was terrible, and it literally caused my TV to like restart randomly. We'd be watching something and the TV would crash, like literally would just like turn off and reboot itself. So I've kind of sworn off LG in terms of TVs until maybe WebOS gets a bigger revamp. But we're sticking with we got some Sonys right now and a couple Samsung.
Well, this is I'll put this link in show notes. This is my actual TV here. TCL 65-inch Class 5 series. It's on sale right now for $550. And the thing to look for, this has Dolby Vision, so you can see there Dolby Vision HDR. If you have a Dolby Vision Apple TV, that tends to work really well. But if you go down to the specifications, this is where you see some of these other criteria. And if you scroll over, full array local dimming. That's what makes a big difference on the picture quality. And so full array local dimming. If you're not going to get an OLED, this would be my recommendation. And this comes with, this is the Roku TV version, which supposedly has HomeKit. I can't test because I have the Google TV version, but the Roku TV version supposedly does. I'll put a link to that TV in show notes if any listeners care to upgrade their TV this season. So there you go. Last thing for me, I was curious if you experienced this. So we talked about the SwitchBot blind tilt last week. Spins the blinds, opens the tilt blinds. That was really fun. I did the shortcuts, so I can control the blinds via shortcuts. I can do it with the HomePod. I can do it with my watch. I got this weird thing where when I wanted to open or close them with my watch, I got this confirm allow thing where it actually didn't do it just right away. I actually had to click allow on my Apple Watch for the shortcut. I checked. The shortcut step does not have like a show it run or any kind of like require allow or anything. And if I run it on my iPhone, like I just click it, it'll just run the shortcut, and I don't have to allow or whatever on my phone. But on my Apple Watch, it was making me allow. So do you ever I don't know if you run certain things with Siri shortcuts like smart devices, but do you ever see that allow, don't allow thing, and you don't have to fix it?
No, I mean, I haven't tried it before. I don't really run a lot of shortcuts in my watch. I usually just run them with my voice.
Oh, okay. Well, I was doing it with my voice on my watch, but anyway, I thought that was weird.
Anytime I talk to my watch, like a HomePod picks it up instead. Like it starts on the watch, and then HomePod's like, no, excuse me, I got this, and then just takes over.
That's what your HomePod sound like, man. I got this.
Yeah, step aside.
Step aside. All right, let's finish up real quick with a couple listener comments and questions. This was wild. So this is on Twitter. The Greek Pita Place, that's the user on Twitter. He messaged us. Loves listening to Apple Home Insider. Sorry, just trying it out. And I guess he and his wife really enjoyed listening. Apparently, he was literally listening to HomeKit Insider in his car when he got into a car accident and his car was totaled. And so he now has a permanent sense memory of our podcast playing as he totaled his car. And I was like, it wasn't his fault. Like, he actually has a video because he had a dash cam. And so he sent me the video in a DM, and it shows like this other guy like pulling out in front of him. HomeKit Insider's playing in the background on the dash cam, and he got into an accident. So unfortunate for the accident for sure. But I guess we're a permanent fixture in his mind now. When he totaled that car, we were talking. So there you go. Thank you for that, the Greek Pita Place. That's terrible, but thanks. I don't know even what to say about it. And one other last question, Scott Taplin, excuse me. He said he listens from Sydney, Australia, across the world. Thanks for listening. He asked if we were able to cover robot mowers and when will they be incorporated into Matter. All the best, Scott. I feel like we've talked about robot mowers in the past. I thought maybe you knew of a few, but do you have any robot mowers that you even know of? I'll pull up some here.
I do know of some, and what I definitely plan on testing some out this year. I'm very curious at how well they work, and I'm eager to try it out. So there's one, and I'm trying to remember the name, and maybe I have to look in my notes from CES, because one of the companies was known for their mower, and then they just launched a new version that was a indoor vacuum. So like I thought that was very interesting. Okay, so the Noesis is the vacuum.
Noesis? All right, let me try to find this real quick. There's some expensive robot lawnmowers. My goodness. Noesis robot lawnmower. The Husqvarna has some. There were some other brands. Noesis Florio? Is that? Well, that's a floor cleaner. Wait a minute. We're live Googling as we speak.
We're live Googling. So maybe, Googling. I think these are, I think I found Steven. Because these were sharing the same booth. It had, I think this was on one side, these WORX mowers, and then on the other side was the Noesis Florio. So they had started with the robotic lawn, and then they moved inside to the vacuum cleaners, which I feel like is the opposite of how things would normally be, but hey. So that looks, I think, like what I saw there, and these had gotten some pretty good reviews, and I'm very curious at how these will work, because we have a pretty straightforward backyard with just a shed and a the septic out there. But other than that, this could run around wherever. And we do have sticks, so we have to pick up sticks. But no, I am very curious about this and how this would actually work, how well they would work, stuff like that. So I'm going to try some stuff out. I will for sure will, and I will report back. As far as the Matter support goes, I would say right now, Matter's a fresh little baby, and it's not even crawling yet. So I wouldn't say like it's imminent, but I would say that adding robo mowers would not be far behind RoboVacs. So I think once we have the robotic vacuum cleaners and mops added, which I think is going to be a pretty soon addition. I think we'll see that within, this is pure speculation, I would guess within like a year or so. The RoboVacs will be added. Mowers would be after that. I don't think they'd be added at the same time because they're a lot less prevalent. But I guess it's more of a thing here in the States. Like in Europe, a shocking amount of people have a robotic mower that they use. So in the U.S., it's just much lower ownership rate for these things.
Right.
I don't know if it's because people have like, I don't know, movies just telling them they want to be riding down a mower on a crisp fall evening or something. There's like corn in the back.
The dad memes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if that's why that we have less here, but mowing is not my thing. So I would like this.
They look cool. It is interesting, depending on the size of your yard. I guess it doesn't matter how long it takes. Like this one says it can charge itself, kind of like my Roborock. It'll charge itself when it needs to, resume cleaning. So, if it's outside, technically it should be fine. So anyway, listeners, if you'd be interested in a robot mower, let us know. Also, Apple Home versus HomeKit. I'd be curious your thoughts on that and any IKEA devices that you enjoy. I would really like to try those out. So you can tweet at Andrew and myself. Our contact stuff is in the show notes. And, of course, you can watch us at youtube.com/HomeKit Insider, showing visuals for everything we talk about as we go through the show. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.